Star Wars Rebels Episode 12, Rebels Resolve. I definitely loved this episode. It was a great first look at the team without Kannan, and it felt like a normal episode. I feel like they haven't had that really big mission yet where it's like we can't seem to do this without Kannan and stuff like that. So this was really just their mission to go find Kannan or at least get some sort of lead. And it was a good episode, and there was some stuff in here that really brought up some very serious questions, and it was one scene in particular, and that was, of course, with Hera talking to this guy that we never got to see, and this is like the closest we've ever come. And it's, Fulcrum has just kind of been like this enigma. It's like, Hera gets these leads from Fulcrum. We don't ever get to see him. We don't ever, we don't know anything about this character. That's just where Hera gets these good leads from, or, this is the person that Hera does, like, some really big deals with. And in this episode, we get, like, the hologram version. We hear the voice, at least. And, honestly, if it was anything else, it would just be, like, a person in a hoodie or in, like, a robe. But whenever it's in Star Wars, it kind of makes you think, like, is this person a Jedi? I mean, obviously, they're just doing that to kind of keep the identity hidden, but at the same time, it's a hologram. Why would the person need to do that? Does Hera not know what this person looks like? I mean, they said a couple of very specific lines, and it really made me wonder: is Hera working with the Jedi? Is she a Jedi herself, and she's kind of been keeping it a secret for whatever reason? It just brought up a lot of questions, like what is this really big mission that she's doing that involves letting Kannan go in order to save Ezra and keep him safe, to fulfill some sort of destiny that these people obviously believe he's going to carry out. And it's like, who is she involved with? Like, what, sort of organization is this, and what are they doing that, it's obviously so important to Hera that she would say, we aren't going to go save Kannan because, it puts us at risk, but obviously it's because it puts Ezra at risk in that he's, like, the key to whatever this big plan is. So it brought up this really big question as to who Fulcrum is. I didn't think about it before. I really did think it's just like, this really big thief who doesn't want to be known, and he keeps his, context really, really small. And that was really it. As far as I was concerned, I didn't think there was that big of a deal to it. I figured that we'd get to learn who the character was at some point, but I didn't think their first, semi-introduction, at least, was going to be like this. I didn't think it would make me question whether or not this character was somehow like a secret Jedi who's trying to help Ezra become like a fully realized Jedi or something like that. So it completely changed what I thought about the character. It's not just, that person's not just like a bounty hunter or a thief anymore. They're, a whole other level now. It's not just like, oh, this person's an enigma that I'm curious about. I want to see who this character is and stuff like that. But now it brings up so many questions that, I mean, it could be nothing, it could be none of those things, but obviously the stuff about them saying, like, we have to kind of let Kannan go in order to save Ezra, there's no possible way around the fact that that is something very special. It doesn't necessarily mean that Fulcrum's going to end up being a Jedi or something like that. It could even, end up being someone that we already know or anything like that, but it means something, and Hera is involved in something that we had no idea was even a thing. So it made me really excited for that little bit where it's like, there's just this secret now. There's something going on with Hera that we don't know about. She's involved in some other sort of organization, or at least with one other person. I feel like the way they were speaking, it goes way beyond just the two of them. It's like an entire group behind, like Fulcrum and stuff like that. So it brought up a couple of really big questions for me that I cannot wait to see them answer, because I think it's going to be pretty amazing. I'd love to see if it was a Jedi that we knew. Of course, the one person I was thinking of was Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, they could kind of make whatever sort of story that they want to, since this is before A New Hope. And, he'd be older. He'd be closer to the age he is in the original trilogy. But not exactly there just yet. So he could be just young enough to still do a couple of things very well. And we haven't really seen a ton of old Jedi outside of, like, the Emperor himself, and he doesn't really do much except for, like, in the prequels he's like flipping and flying all over the place. Well, not really, but he's moving around fast enough. But I don't know what's happening there, but it definitely had me excited. It brought up some really great questions. And then the rest of the episode in general I thought was really well done. Like Ezra kind of going out on its own, in a sense at least, coming up with this plan to go find Kanan despite Hera's orders. And, going to the guy that they always go to, I can't think of his name, but going to him and, revealing the fact that he and Kanan are Jedi and making this deal, like, we don't know what this deal is going to be. It's obviously going to come back and it's going to be something serious for, this character. But I thought that was a cool moment. Like, he, took some initiative, like, I have to save Kanan, I have to find him. He had a serious connection to him in the Force. He knew that Kanan was still alive, and he didn't really realize that it was the Force, which I think I kind of enjoyed. I was hoping that he would say it was the Force, but he doesn't really understand that that's why he knows Kanan is alive. It's not just like a random feeling in his gut. It's him having a, Force-based connection to his master, so I actually thought that was really cool. Like, no one else, was kind of just like, you just have this feeling, we can't go off of that. But it was him having this, master-apprentice connection through the Force. And I thought that was actually very well done. And, it was in there for fans who know what it is. But for the characters within the show, and even Ezra himself, it's kind of something that's lost on them. It's just a gut feeling. So I thought that was pretty cool that it's in there. But they don't really know what it is, that's happening. So I really enjoyed that. That was cool. Getting to see Kanan in lockup I thought was pretty interesting, like him having to deal with the torture and stuff like that, and that kind of partners with something Hera mentioned when Sabine says, like, what do you think he'll kind of break and tell the Empire what he knows? And Hera says, like, he doesn't really know anything. I thought that was really interesting, and that was, that really just compounded the whole conversation between, like, her and Fulcrum, and it's like, he doesn't know anything, and it's not just a simple level, like, they might not know the past of each other and stuff like that, but it's like, she said that in a way where it's like, he could say anything and everything he knows, and it would still mean absolutely nothing compared to, what he doesn't know. So it was sort of sinister, but at the same time, I don't think Hera's doing anything bad. I don't think she's going to secretly become a villain. It's just that, even as a good guy, when you hide something that's obviously a giant secret that she's hiding, it just automatically seems a little bit sinister. But, seeing Kanan in there I thought was pretty cool. He had, I think, 2 or 3 scenes where he was locked up. They also made a reference to the original trilogy from The Empire Strikes Back. And the line from the film is that it was from Boba Fett to Darth Vader, and it was about Han Solo. And it was like, the bounty hunter is no good to me dead. And they did the same line, except it was, the Jedi is no good to me dead. And he was locked up in the same sort of thing. So I thought that was a nice little reference to the original trilogy that was just kind of snuck into the episode. I thought it was pretty sweet. But I love this episode. I thought it was really cool. Like I said, brought up huge questions for Hera. Chopper was great in this episode. I think this was the most focus we've seen on Chopper throughout the entire series, and I think it was really well done. Like, I thought it was going to be Ezra and Chopper this entire episode, which I thought would have been a cool pairing, because we don't get too much of Chopper. We had him, I think, like episode 3 or something, when they kind of went on that little mission and he was trying to find out some secrets. But that was really it. And in this one, he had like a really cool escape scene when he like opened the hatch from the Star Destroyer and he like flew out into space, and he's, flying through, and they have to like catch him inside the ship, and then he grabs onto the ladder and they like, flip upside down and drop into the atmosphere. That was a cool little shot. I thought it was really sweet. And then, at the very end, he was so funny when he knocked the other droid off the ship because he was jealous. And he just, like, they're closing the doors like, oh, that's going to be cool. I was thinking they're going to add another droid in, and this droid won't have, nearly as big of a role as Chopper. He'll just do, like, some other stuff Chopper doesn't do, because he'll be, like, the straight man to, Chopper's, like, craziness. It would be a lot like C-3PO and R2, where R2's, like, the crazy one, and then C-3PO is kind of the straight man, and that's how it was. But instead, Chopper got, like, super jealous, and he spun around and just knocked him off the ship. I thought that was a hilarious little scene. And then the very end, where we find out that they're going to Mustafar, which is the planet that Obi-Wan and Anakin fought on before Anakin ended up being Darth Vader. That's where they were when they had that final fight in Episode 3. So I'm incredibly excited to see kind of how they play that. And, if they show anything from the original trilogy. I doubt they'll show, like, Vader or the Emperor or anything like that. But it'll be cool to see how much like the third film it actually looks and how much it changed from everything that happened when Obi-Wan and Anakin had that fight. But I love the episode, of course. I want to know what you guys thought, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And what do you guys want to see on Mustafar? Do you want them to be able to rescue Kanan within the next episode? Or do you want, do you want things to be held off for a little bit longer so the team does have to go through sort of the highs and lows of being without Kanan and Ezra being stuck without his master and being forced to kind of train himself to get stronger so that he can actually save Kanan. Because I love it, it would be cool if they saved him in the next episode, but I would like to see the team without Kanan for at least 2 or 3 more episodes, maybe just 2 more episodes. And I think it would be really cool to see them have to deal with some real serious missions, especially if they lost them in the next episode and then they had to travel, to another different system or something like that. I think it would be pretty cool. I would really enjoy it if they had to stay without them for, like I said, only like 2 more episodes or maybe 3. I think 3 might work since this one was really only the first taste of it and it was solely them looking for Kanan. It wasn't the team having to deal with a separate mission without him. But that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see them fail in this next episode, and then maybe an episode or 2 after that they are able to rescue him again. Maybe with the help of another character, maybe with Fulcrum or something like that, and Hera's able to convince Fulcrum and whoever he's working with to kind of help them out at least a little bit. And then that would obviously be a great avenue to give us a little bit more backstory and info on who Fulcrum is and what exactly is going on between him and Hera, and what's this grand mission or grand scheme that they have going on. I guess I shouldn't say scheme because scheme always seems bad, but I'll go with mission. But that's definitely what I want to see. But like I said, I want to know what you guys think, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.